Okay, so in the downtime between when Magic Online has Dragon's Arc available for standard and limited play, and the time where it kind of doesn't even have an up to date ban list, as we found out last time, and had the wonderful experience of potentially testing for the Pro Tour in Modern Dailies featuring Treasure Cruise, despite the fact that Fate Reforged had been out for like a week or something crazy. Anyways, I kind of noticed that after the last Pro Tour, I never really played at all with the deck that I played there, which was, I thought, pretty awesome for that event. Burn. I think the deck's really good. It's only going to get better because it does get the single best card out of Dragon's Tarkir, which is Atarka's Command. So I figured I kind of play this as a baseline, and I guess just kind of like talk through some of the stuff that's going on with the deck right now. Kind of figure out where it's going moving forward with what's getting replaced with the Atarka's Command, like how many Skull Cracks are leaving, what other slots are changing, how does the mana change. This list is really close to what I played at the Pro Tour, the exception being that I had Wear Tear over Destructive Revelry and more Lightning Helix over Core Firewalker. This change you can see reflected in the mana. I believe there are a few more fetch lands than I played. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, which in turn correlates to cutting a Sacred Foundry from the full 4, because you still have 14 white sources. And this is all so that you can fit in this Sacred Foundry to cast Destructive Revelry. I was okay with Wear Tear at the time, but I kind of want to try out the slightly more powerful, slightly less consistent option a bit. The Firewalker over Helix thing was just, I had fears about Little Zoo at that Pro Tour, and now that it's kind of proven that that's not relevant, Helix is fine to board against other decks, but you really need to beat the mirror, and this is just the best card to do it. But you can see things like Path to Exile and Pyrite Spellbomb to beat opposing core Firewalkers, your answers to Leyline of Sanctity, and really those are the two hate cards people show up with. I mean, Dragon's Claw as well, but again, this card. And then you just have the other Searing Blazes to round out the number in the main, because of the match, you either want 4 or 0 of that card most of the time. The main deck kind of hedges with 2. Seth Manfield played 4 on his way to a Pro Tour top 8, but I think that's a little aggressive. It's not like there's a Pat Sullivan quote from this last standard season about Searing Blood, where like, yeah, that card is so good that if you're playing this deck, you should be playing 4, because if you're going to win with red deck, it's because Searing Blood is good, and if you're not going to win, you're not going to win. It's not like that. This deck is perfectly fine without Searing Blaze in it. So the 2 in there are kind of just like, well, there's not other cards you really want to play, and it's pretty powerful. So you just kind of fit them in there because they're, at the least, even if you're playing against Tarmogoyf decks like Abzan, they're still reasonable. They still do something. Unlike Searing Blood, which does absolutely nothing there. And then Molten Rain is just, it just adds percentage points on the play. If you win the die roll against, there's so many decks, like, it's actually great against Twin on the play. It's pretty good against Abzan on the play. It's just like, it's not actually for Scapeshift or Tron because you beat those decks anyways. It's just there because any kind of mid-range deck, if you're on the play, you can just Molten Rain them and get them and win, X% of your games you draw it. You don't want a ton because drawing multiples is clunky, but the first copy is absolutely absurd when it hits. Besides that, I really like Shard Volley. I think that, while I don't like adding a color for Bump in the Night, having the maximum number of 1-mana burn spells is pretty huge. Going to these mid to late games where you just kind of, I guess, mid to late in the sense of like turn 4 or 5, where you just like are trying to get all the cards out of your hand and have lethal burn before you get raced by like a Tarmogoyf. And just having Shard Volley really helps with that. And Lavamancer, I guess, is the other flex slot, and it's just awesome. And you'll just have to see the card play out. It's kind of like, it doesn't make sense on the numbers. Like, it's slow. It doesn't, like, compared to the other creatures, it doesn't produce damage as fast, but it just is awesome, and it produces damage consistently through blockers. And there are matchups where it just wins the game, like Affinity or Merfolk. And I guess there's this Helix because there's a Lightning Helix in the deck. Honestly, it could literally be anything, and as soon as another burn spell like Atarka's Command comes out that's worth playing, it's just out of the deck. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to some real simple and nice lighting people on fire. We can go over some good sequencing math and sideboarding with this deck too.